I think 100% of it is the Fed intervention, because the system really died in 2008. All the data shows it. And so once they went in to manage these markets, then there was truly no good price discovery. So I would say, yeah, I mean, hey, if traders know that the Fed's going to give them money if they have a temper tantrum, well, guess what? But what people don't understand is number one, that's your money that the Fed is giving these guys, because it's taxpayer backed. We're responsible for it. And number two, the more that they do this, the less value in terms of purchasing power, which is the piece that impacts you and me the most, the less value that it has. So, for me, in this lull, as things are calm, the markets for physical gold and silver availability has eased up a bit. And I talked about this, and I'll talk about it again and again and again. This is the time not to become complacent and think, oh, the markets are up, so everything must be fine, and they have this under control. We all saw what the holes were when everybody was panicking. And this is the time to fill those holes. And for me, my mantra, food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. So where were your holes? Did you really have all the gold and silver that you need to execute that? Did you have enough toilet paper? I was able to share toilet paper because I've been preparing for so long that and I have my gardens, I didn't really have a hiccup at all, except I didn't have my Berkey water filter. So I did fill that hole. Additionally, what I will say is that the pandemic, as a cover for a financial system reset and shutting down the global economy, they could have not gotten a better cover, because there is no way on God's green earth that the general public would have tolerated another 2008 and the way that they bailed that out. So this, when you look at currency regime shifts, what you see are patterns, and I've even done videos on that. These are the things that happen all the time. And being there in 1971 as a teenager, so I wasn't fully aware of really what was happening. However, I remember thinking to myself at 17 years old, why would I even think this? But I remember thinking Social Security is not going to be there for me when I get there. I saw the upheaval with the Vietnam War, with the oil embargo. The stock market dropped 45%. You had inflation running, it's something like 45% or something crazy like that. You had women's lib. You had a lot of things that were going on during that period of time that would distract you from the real shift. And this has forced a lot of people online, which is where they were pushing us, nudging us anyway. It has definitely sped that up quite a bit. And I'll admit, for me, I'm a locavore, which means that I want to buy local if I can. If I can do it, and if it costs me a couple bucks more, I'm happy to do that, because it keeps the money in the community and that enables the community to thrive. But going through this pandemic where I have not been able to go to my local stores, if I've needed something, I have gone online to see if they are, if I can buy it online and have them ship it to me. But a lot of the small mom and pops were simply not set up for that. So it has forced me to use Amazon more. And how much of a habit, for me, I know I'm going to break that habit because it kills me every time I do it, right? But for most people that don't have that same mindset, how much of these new habits that they have, that the pandemic has forced on us, how many is that going to maintain? how much more are we going to see the local banks, for example, that were really pretty instrumental in getting out those PPP loans, the payroll protection plan loans to the smaller and medium-sized businesses. I think we're going to see a lot more consolidation in a lot of areas, which gives us fewer and fewer choices. And what that means is that then they can control they get a lot more control, not just in pricing, but in what you're using, what you're seeing, etc. And that's the part that really scares the heck out of me. And I do want to add this, because for me and for everybody, if you have gold and silver that is outside of the system, then you get to retain your choices. If everything you do and everything you have is inside of the system, somebody else is choosing for you. I got news for you. And we all have to decide for ourselves, is that okay? Because they're going to make choices that are in their best interest first. We need to start making choices that is in our best interest first. That's what I'm all about. That's what my work is all about. And that's what ITM is all about.
Yeah.
I created a strategy based upon all those repeatable patterns. And so that's really what we help people do, is not just survive this, but actually thrive through it, because this is major wealth transfer. That's what this is about. So I think the pandemic is a great cover. It's a great cover for suppressing the opposition to governments and central banks that was escalating around the world. I mean, look at Hong Kong, right? That was pretty convenient to shut that, that down. And now, not a shock that they're coming out and putting in new rules and taking control. I don't think that the current cryptocurrencies will be allowed to remain. Those were used to get people used to it and to develop a market for it. But they want everything digital. As governments have said, once we're in a digital currency, they can do lifetime taxation. And we were talking before about, Singapore being a fine city, right? Well, how convenient if everything is digital and they want to charge you a fine or a tax or a fee or this, then they can just pull it out of your account. You have no control. That makes, again, gold and silver way more important. But we've been transitioning into this really since 2008.